And welcome back. Well, now that we've created our 360 degree environment, what we should be thinking about is a light source. And as we're out in the open, the light source that we need to be creating is that of the sun. Now, as we all know, the sun is in the sky. Yeah, but whereabouts in the sky? Now, our environment is actually going to tell us precisely where the sun is, and more or less what time of year it is and what time of day it is. So I actually created a 360 degree AVI file so that I could determine where I'm going to be placing the sun. Let's take a quick look. Here we are. Now let's put this in motion. Okay, let's stop that now. Now, at the moment, 3ds Max is illuminating this scene using its default light settings, which by pure coincidence matches up quite well with our scene, which is fine if I was happy to leave the scene in the same place, or if I didn't want to take advantage of the many options which light can actually offer us. Well, you don't have to be a survival expert to see that the sun is quite high in the sky here. If we have a look at these shadows in this section, you can see that they're fairly short. So straight away that's telling me that the time of day is round about midday. In fact, if we play this on a little bit further, just a touch more, there we go. Now look at those shadows there. And look at the shadows on our Messerschmitt here. Again, the light source is coming in from this direction. It's coming from high above. It's hitting the wing there, the wing here, and it's just got that side there in shadow. So if the point of origin for our light source was up over here, then that would illuminate this side, and that in itself would actually destroy the illusion, simply because the shadow on here and there wouldn't correlate. So I know more or less that the lighting on here, or the direction for the lighting, is correct. What we've now got to do is actually set up our light source to reflect that. So let's now close this down. We're in our create panel. We have geometry selected. What we're going to do is pop over to lights. Now I've got it set to standard, but we do have photometric. I've actually got V-Ray as well, and we're going to be using a standard light, and as we can see we've got various lights here: target spot, target direct, free spot, free direct. We've also got one called skylight. Now we could use that and set up various options which are available, such as the location, time of day, etc. But all we need for this scene really is an omni. Incidentally, MR area omni, that's mental ray. I'm not going to be using mental ray. We're going to be sticking with our standard, and we're going to be using an omni light. Okay, so let's select omni. First of all, what we have to do is create a light source. Now I'm just going to place that here for the time being. Straight away you can see that our model shading changed, and if we were to pop up and do a quick render, there we can see it's not matching up anymore. Okay, let's close this down now. I'm going to pop into my layers manager, set scene, and what I'm going to do is just unfreeze the geosphere for a bit. Now I'm going to right click on this section of our menu, and I want to have a look at the snaps. Just bring this open a bit. I want to snap to a vertex. Okay, and I'm going to turn snap on But now I'm going from the lights and I want to pop into the helpers, and I want a point helper. Okay, let me just come around here a little bit, because I'm going up to the top section there. And as you can see, that's the top section. That's where our image actually meets there. Now the sun is coming from over in this direction. So I've got our snap on, and what that's doing is snapping to sections of our geosphere. It's somewhere up in that area. Prop spin, no. So left click to snap it there. Now if we press H on our keyboard and we pop down to the bottom and select Omni 01, say OK. Now what I want to do is go to Align, and let's align it to point 1. Say OK for all that, that's fine. And now we can see that our light source, our Omni light, is aligned to our point helper there. Well, we had a bit of a screen freeze there, but we're back. Well, now that we have our light source in place, what I want to do is just very quickly go to link, and I'm going to link this to the geosphere. I'll just go to that for a moment. Now if I go to top viewport, T on the keyboard, zoom out a little bit and touch more so we can see it. There we are. Put it into perspective. There we go. Looks to be in the right position there. Okay, H on the keyboard, CC Messerschmitt, say OK, and then go to zoom. And let's have a quick look at this now. So a quick render. And that's not looking too bad. It's still a little bit dark. We're going to come on to that in a moment, but that shading is quite okay. This looks as though the sun's coming high from above. It's hitting the top here, but this here is in shade. The wings are illuminated. Just pop around a little bit more. Try another render. Yep, that's looking good. One more in relation to these shadows here. I'm happy with that so far. Now before I forget, I'm going to pop back into our layers manager, into scene set. I want to freeze the geosphere. I no longer need the point, and I need to give our Omnilight a name. So close that down, H, pop down, point, select that, say OK, and I'm just going to press delete. H, pop down, select the Omnilight, say OK. Bring that over here now. I'll just call this Sun. That's simple. Well, we have our Omnilight selected. We're in our modify panel. So first of all, what's an Omnilight? Well, an Omnilight is a source which emits light in all directions, mainly used for light bulbs and the sun. Okay, so let's now turn to our submenus here. Looking at our general parameters, we can see that we have an Omnilight selected. Now, if we did wish to change that, we can go in here and go for a spotlight or a directional light, but we're staying with the Omni. And we can see that the light is switched on. Down here, we can see that we've got shadows. Now, at the moment, it's switched off, so let's check that box there, so it's on. It's showing shadow map. Now, if we open up this section here, we can see that we've got access to various options such as advanced, ray traced, mental ray shadow map. Well, we're not using mental ray, so that's not relevant. Area shadows. Well, actually what I want to do is check area shadows rather than use the shadow map, so I'm going to go for area shadows. Next we have this section down here, intensity, color and attenuation. Well, let's open this up for a moment. Now the first thing we can see is multiplier. At the moment it's set to 1, and basically this is the brightness control. Well, 1 isn't sufficient for our purposes, so I'm going to increase that to, I don't know, somewhere around about 3ish. And if we just do a quick render of that, let's have a look. There we go, that's looking a little bit brighter on the top section. Might even pull this round a little bit more. Another quick render. And that's looking better, is that? More in tune with the environment there. Okay. And next to the multiplier is a color swatch. Okay, so let's left click on that, open it up. Now let's just say that our scene wasn't midday but late evening. So let's just pick a bit of an orangey sort of colour here. I'll just show you what I mean. Let's select that colour there, say OK. Straight away you can see that it has changed the coloration to our Messerschmitt. In fact, if we do a render, there we are. So if it was late evening just as the sun is setting, then yeah, that could be an appropriate coloration for our lighting. Let's close that down. Well, as it's not appropriate for this scene, let's just go to the swatch again. What I'm going to do actually is put in a sort of palish blue to this. Maybe not so blue. Let's have a look. See, I don't like it white, but a pale blue. Let's say OK to that and try a quick render. Maybe just a little bit too blue, so let's bring this down a touch more. Say OK. Another quick render. To some extent it is important that you spend a little bit of time trying to get the coloration correct. It makes your scene more believable then. Let's just try it in that direction. That doesn't look too bad. However, if we have a look at the shadows on the Messerschmitt, they're a lot darker than these shadows here, and you're not going to be able to rectify that by using the light sections here, even with shadow parameters, etc. The way to do that actually is, let's close this down for a moment. What we're going to do is pop into rendering there, go to environment, and in the ambient section here, let's left click on that, open it up. What I'm going to do is just take our eyedropper there and go to some of these shadows around here. Straight away you can see something changing as far as the scene in the viewport was concerned. So let's say OK for that, and now let's do a render. There we go. That's a lot better. We can see some of the detail which is on the fuselage. It still looks a little bit darker than this here, so play around with this a little bit more. Let's have a look. Environment, open this up, bring it down a little bit. See, we get into a greyish section there. Say OK, do another render. That looks a lot better. Let's try it in a different area. Bring it round. Another render. Well, that's certainly looking more believable now. Okay, let's close it down. Take a look on the sunny side. Let's just see how that is against that blue background there. And a quick render. That doesn't look too bad, apart from this section here. There should be a shadow underneath there. So let's pop into our shadow parameters. Now we've got an object shadows here. Color we've got as black. Density, yeah, that's set to 0. Let's just increase that a little bit. Try 0.3 to begin with. And let's do a render. Well, we can start to see these shadows coming in here. So increase that a little bit more. 0.5. There we go. It's not too bad. I don't really want to increase them. Well, try 0.7. I say it really is playing around until you get something that's looking realistic. Yeah, that's okay there. Doesn't look too bad at all. Okay, well, we'll call that it for this session, and I'll catch you later.